They're the ones who make it happen. They're the ones who get it done. And that's why we shine the spotlight on them on Business for Breakfast. It's time now for the Business Leaders Spotlight on Money Radio.
Well, it is that time of the week once again, actually the final time of 2024 that we get to do the Business Leaders Spotlight. One of my favorite segments is I get to visit with some of the Valley's business leaders, both men and women, making a difference right here in our own backyard in our community. Our next guests, two gents who are doing some really cool stuff. They started in Revenue Capital, I believe, last year, right? Didn't we have you?
January 23.
23, yeah. So 2 years ago. So obviously doing some good things. And then they put their thoughts on paper and put it into a book that is coming out real soon. And we're going to talk about that as well. Let me introduce you to Justin Gray and Josh Wagner. They're within Revenue Capital. And again, the new book that is coming out soon, The Go-To-Market Cheat Code, The Secret to Unlocking B2B Growth. Good morning, boys. How you doing?
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys as well. So January 23, right? So
Yep.
in a couple days, it'll be a 2-year anniversary of In Revenue Capital. How's it going? Well, first of all, we're going to explain what it is, but how's In Revenue Capital going?
So kind of as you alluded to, venture capital, but we do, I would say, everything a complete 180 from normal VC mode of operating. So, going very well, but even in that statement, kind of requires some explanation. And I think our model is unique, and that's why it's going well.
Yeah, it is unique, and I want to touch on that. You guys have years of experience in B2B growth,
Yep,
right? I mean,
correct.
that's what you did. And so this is taking that B2B growth, coupling it with venture capitalism, right? Because a lot of times venture capitalism is, here's some money, have at it, right?
Make it happen. Yeah.
Make it happen. If you
Exactly
don't,
right.
well, okay. So you guys are trying to really not just give them, pardon me, the funds and the what's needed to grow, but also expertise along the way, correct?
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, we believe go-to-market, and if folks don't know what that term means, sales, marketing, partnerships, customer success, everything in the customer lifecycle, right? We believe that is the last moat in B2B startups. And
Sure.
so that's what we bring to the table. Our model is called Operator Immersive, which basically just means we pay to work really hard. So we get involved with every company we invest in, roll up our sleeves, hands-on, and that's really, the foundation of our model.
Josh, almost like Shark Tank, but then you don't get out of the tank. You
It
stay in
is,
with
right?
the sharks, right?
Well, if you look at the successful sharks like a Mark Cuban and a Kevin O'Leary, right, they have an operating model on the back end that helps those founders be successful. And we're doing something somewhat similar, right? And you find that it's not only interesting in venture capital, like you said, you write a check, you walk away. Well, what's going to happen next is the founder just gets left to their own devices. How do I grow, right? So where we come in is we're protecting our investment, but Justin mentioned we're not traditional venture. We're protecting the investments of our partners. And that's another thing that makes us unique is we go to market ourselves through other venture capitalists in the marketplace, more established. They get access to deal flow, but we're also helping them protect their investment by allocating a piece of that investment for us.
Yeah, I think when people, Justin, you can maybe answer this. When people hear venture capitalists, they just think you guys are stupid loaded and you just want to throw your money around,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're
Which
not,
is
but,
not far from the truth for a lot of firms, right?
right. But so how does that differ for you guys? When, like what Josh was just saying, you're tying some things together because I'm sure as much as you'd love to just give some of your money away and make this all happen, there's steps along the way, right?
Yeah. So, you kind of alluded and mentioned we've been doing go-to-market for our own businesses. I've been fortunate to start 5 different businesses, had 5 exits, very successful exits. So these are methodologies, these are tactics that we've developed over the last 2 decades, and that's what we're now sharing with our investments, our portfolio companies. So, very hands-on model. We're early stage, so what we call seed stage. Meaning they have revenue, normally $500K to $1.5 million in ARR is kind of our sweet spot. But when we make that investment, we step in and really help them, on that 1 to 10 journey. So kind of the, 1 million to 10 million is our, not only our sweet spot, but what we love from a cultural and kind of growth perspective. So we can step in and be highly effective there, and that's our laser focus.
There's something about that, too, staying in that sweet spot, right? That 1 to 10, because you are more hands-on. You get to know these people. They're part of the family, if you will, right? Like
sure.
There's something to be said about that, where they're not just a number.
We
people
spend a lot of time with our founders and their teams.
Yeah, that's really cool. Ideas come a lot, right? How do you guys have to decipher those, if you know what I'm saying?
From a deal flow perspective, like what do we invest in?
Ideas, investments. Hey, I got this idea for this company, and you're like, that sounds terrible, or that sounds amazing, or you know what I mean, like that kind of thing, right?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, we're pretty narrow in terms of the companies that we look for. So B2B, meaning business to business, vertical SaaS. So we've got a lot of healthcare, we've got manufacturing, we've got fintech, we've got AI is kind of an overlay across all of those, but we're looking for businesses that fall within that kind of circle. But even more from a concentric circle perspective, we're looking for founder fit. Is this an organization that wants our help, someone that we can work with daily? We're aligned culturally, we're aligned mentally, and first and foremost, we can be effective, within their business, and it's a true partnership.
Yeah. So you're not looking for the guy that's inventing self-tying shoes or
Correct.
something.
No.
Correct. Okay, good to go. Well, there goes my idea. Justin Gray and Josh Wagner in Revenue Capital. They're also now authors of a book that is coming out to market soon, kind of timing, The Go-To-Market Cheat Code, The Secret to Unlocking B2B Growth. Josh, you guys, I joked, I said, what made you guys write a book? I mean, you guys are nuts. And you said it took about an hour. I'm sorry, not an hour.
Yeah, 1 hour.
That's
1
right.
hour. That's
I'm sorry.
it. Yeah.
Took about a year is what I meant to say to put this, these ideas and this cheat code onto paper. So tell me about the process and how excited are you about the book?
Yeah, frankly, we had these ideas. Everything Justin talked about that we apply in the portfolio is what we're putting in the book, right? And these are things that we've worked on together over the past decade, at least in our former company. And it's one of those things where you just kind of start brain dumping, right? And then you got to organize it into something. So we worked together. We worked with our PR firm to kind of help us outline and move things together. But the goal of this was to say, 1, we're not traditional venture capitalists. 2, we know what we're talking about. And 3, here's our really expensive business card, basically, right? Like, this is our methodology. We believe in it, and we've actually taken the time and money to put it on paper.
Put it on paper, and then, and I think I love the idea. I love the title, first of all, because anytime you throw a cheat code in there, that gets people's attention, right? Whoa,
you should see the cover.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It looks great. And but that, you know what I mean? You're getting them interested. There's people that, they want to take their businesses to the next level. They don't always know how to do it, right? They might be good at it to sustain this level, but if you want to grow, sometimes you have to bring in some backup.
Product just doesn't propel businesses anymore, and probably more so, if you've been in B2B for the last decade and a half, 2 decades, the inbound and outbound kind of playbook that you can point it at anyone, but HubSpot's been a huge aspect of that. Marketing automation was a huge aspect of that. You don't hear those success stories anymore. No one's saying like, "Oh, I'm killing it with inbound and outbound." Like you hear, there's a handful of companies these days, like Snowflake, Ramp, Gong, that your darling companies out there. But beyond that, you just don't hear people saying like, "Yeah, my business is exploding." You've got economic pressures going on. Like we're obviously coming off a crazy, COVID aspect that totally shook everything up. And I don't think, that playbook has ever recovered from a success factor perspective. And so, we really looked at what has allowed us to propel our own businesses. What are we doing within our portfolio that's unique, and kind of packaged everything up there. And to kind of, reveal a little bit of the sausage here, like, relationships are the center of everything, and that sounds like totally like old school advice. But when you really look at what is that playbook, what are those tactics that we've been able to repeat over and over again with a huge amount of success, and start breaking that down in how do you actually do these things? The recipe is pretty interesting and pretty unique, and it does amplify. If you, again, getting back to like inbound and outbound, like those things are still viable, but you need to add that secret ingredient, and that's exactly what we're trying to bring with this book.
It's really good. I love it. Justin Gray, Josh Wagner, managing partners in Revenue Capital, authors of a book called The Go-To-Market Cheat Code, The Secret to Unlocking B2B Growth, which can be pre-ordered right now on Amazon.
They start shipping in a week. If you pre-order it now, their official release date is January 15th, but pre-orders really help us out.
Is this an audio book too?
It will be. It will be. So like I think 30 days
after. Are you two
after...
doing the talking?
No.
They didn't hire us for that. They should have, though.
Josh might do that.
Half the time, I'll listen to books a lot just because I drive all the time.
Yeah,
so I just throw it on. I'll listen to something. And half the book is, the book could be fantastic. If the reader is not good, I'm out.
Yeah,
like I can't.
It's really hard.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I'm like, where do you find these people?
That could be your second gig, Mark.
No, I'm
use
good.
those sultry tones.
I would, but when
to
I read, I get really tired. So that's why I like to listen to books. Anyway, let me ask you this: do you feel like in almost 2 years in business and in revenue, you're rattling the cages a little bit of the traditional venture capitalism? Or
well, the interesting thing is, if you look, so traditional venture model, right? Like those folks are looking for a value add. They're looking for a way to stand out even amongst their peers, and rather than compete with those organizations, like we've partnered with them, and so they will actually carve out allocation for us to come in and bring our value add model. So it's been a really disruption, yes, but we're also there's a great symbiotic relationship.
I was going to say disruption, and then they're like, hey. Instead of competition, like let's bring these guys in, and
that's what's predominantly changed over that 2 years. Like Josh mentioned, like we stepped in as newbies within this space largely, and now the phone's ringing and folks are hearing about not only what we do that's different, but the results that we're generating, which we've got about a minimum of a 3x markup within our portfolio across 2 years. And we've got folks that are 12, 15x and so on that are in our kind of top quartile. So the word's getting around, and I think to me that's the largest indicator of success.
You've had a lot of companies, like you mentioned, Justin. As you grow, companies have staff. What are you guys up to? What are you up to? No, or is it just
no 3 partners? And then we've got what we call our operating partner network, which are folks that we've been fortunate to work with over the last 2 decades plus. That we'll bring in, within kind of our engagements and once we make an investment. But, one of the 3 partners is assigned as a point to every single investment that we make. And again, about 20 hours a week we spend with those founders and those teams.
You don't really need people answering the phones and stuff like that. You guys are handling
answering our cell phones.
People working,
boots on the ground.
Yep.
All right. Well, again, the book is called The Go-To-Market Cheat Code: The Secret to Unlocking B2B Growth. You can pre-order it right now on Amazon. If this is something of interest to you, this is a good book, and you get after that and have it in your mailbox probably in about a week to 10 days.
That's right.
Tell people how to get in touch with you guys at In Revenue.
Yeah, in revenue.com. Our website's always the best. We give away a ton of content there as well. Like all of our best practices, go on, check it out, download it. And obviously, LinkedIn's great for us as well. We're always happy to respond to a comment.
I love it, man. I love the success story. Keep it up. I look forward to the book, and then just let me know what's next, all right?
Absolutely.
You guys have a welcome open spot anytime you want.
There we go.
I appreciate it.
Thanks,
There
Mark.
you go. That's Justin Gray and Josh Wagner, In Revenue Capital. Go to inrevenue .capital?
.capital or .com.
.com.
They both
Okay.
work.
Get you there.
All right, that's okay. Making sure. And then again, go to Amazon, grab that book, and see for yourself what it's all about. That was our Business Leaders Spotlight. The final one of 2024 was a good one.